Imagine spending 5 birthdays in jail with no conviction, false statements, and the biggest piece of evidence against you is that you were within 10 miles of the incident? That's like when people message me when Trey Lance and Jimmy G break their ankles and they're like, what happened? How the fuck am I supposed to know? While we try to imagine what that could be like, that is the reality for Cyrus Gray. He spent nearly 5 years in jail after being accused of the death of a Texas State student in 2018. You see, as a Sikh, I can definitely empathize with wrongful jailings, fake encounters, false evidence, fake statements, and many more. Those that don't know, Jagtar Singh or Jaggi Singh, who is a UK citizen, I'm looking at you white people, protect your citizens. He was abducted by the police in 2017 despite committing no crimes. For 5 years, he's been tortured in Indian jails. That'll be another video for a different day. And while the accused crimes may be different, it's the principle of accusations of robbing these young men of their lives that we're gonna address today. And if you've seen the Central Park 5, you know exactly what I mean. And nonetheless, it's in the 6 principles to stand against any injustice against anyone at any time. Shout out Guru Tegh Bahadur. And in this situation with Cyrus, this one hits home a little too hard. Because you see, now all my life, I grew up reading about the different human rights and civil rights struggles that happen in India and Punjab, but also in my homeland of America. Instead of these situations being history that I'm reading, it's history being made in front of my eyes all over again. Cyrus and I both attended the same high school together and we were high school football teammates. Besides Darius Flash Wilson, the fucking GOAT, Cyrus Gray was one of the hardest workers I ever saw at Side Springs. I'm talking weight room, classes, practice, all of it. Fast forward, when I heard the news of what happened, I was in disbelief. As of November 2022 in Hayes County Jail, 647 people are being held in that jail. 535 are being held without conviction. That's 83% of the entire jail, mostly black and Hispanic. I mean, holy shit, Hayes County Jail has a higher conviction rate than Steph Curry can shoot from the field. They literally got a higher incarceration rate without conviction than my GOAT LeBron James can make free throws. I bet the head of police is an Indian dad because you know 83% is never enough. That motherfucker wants an A. The jail has been backlogged with cases due to the pandemic. For 3 years, a resolution has been struggling to pass that finally did, and it allocates $5 million to public defenders. I bet Dennis Schroeder loves that contract. How do we know if they'll use the money accordingly? Word on the street is that all the millions are going to one person who gets paid to do nothing at all. Chase Daniel. Texas has 254 counties. Out of all of those counties, guess how many have this type of funding? 36. 14% of Texas counties have this funding. The rest of them, I mean, 14%, that's like Shaq's free throw numbers. Or Russell Wilson's win percentage on the Broncos. Let's high. You know, some of the struggles that court-appointed defenders can face is a lack of resources, but also a backlog of so many cases that pretty much dilutes the quality of each case that they work on. It's like when Trey Lance is your guy, and then he breaks his ankle, and then you're like, oh yeah, no, we got Jimmy G, so we're good, right? He's been there, he's experienced, he knows what he's doing, we can rely on him. And then he gets hurt too. And all of a sudden, you got a 7th string quarterback leading the helm. Fuck my life. Before Cyrus was arrested, he was working in his 2nd year as a physical therapist. He just bought a car. He was working with local artists in Houston, managing them, and he was developing a clothing line. Cyrus was held in jail for 54 months. That's literally the amount of time Jimmy G has spent on IR in his career. It literally took the Redeem team that long to build chemistry, and those are NBA superstars. While locked up, Cyrus said he's had his male temper with, and there's been an overall effort to basically cut him off. While today we're focused on Cyrus, Devonte Amerson, who also attended high school with myself and is a former teammate of mine, Devonte Amerson is being held at a bond of $500,000 for the same crime. When they were arrested, unmarked men arrived in vans with assault rifles to Cyrus's job and detained him there. And when they detained Devonte Amerson, he was with his son at that time. Had any cop jumped to any judgment, him and his son would have lost their lives that day. So let's dive into this case, shall we? The prosecution says either Cyrus or Devonte Amerson shot the Texas State student over an ounce of weed. What does the evidence look like? Well, the prosecution is using cell phone tower records that show that Devonte and Cyrus were within 10 miles of the incident. That's like getting your jutti thrown at you by your mom because your dad made a pop on the other side of the room and she thought it was you. Or like when the 49ers lose and people text me and call me like, what happened? I'm not there. How the fuck am I supposed to know? There were 3 witnesses that gave statements that prosecutors relied heavily upon, claiming that the accused individuals informed them about a drug deal that had gone bad. After further examination, 2 of the 3 recanted their statements, saying that they were intimidated by the police to give a statement. Gray's attorney also displayed how the 3rd witness, that story kept changing and there was no continuity and consistency behind it. It's like those 3 aunties at the wedding reception that are denying that they said you would never get married as they're slipping rum into their jaw. GT auntie, I'm looking at your ass. No actual eyewitness eyewitness at the scene, no DNA evidence, and no murder weapon. The case was considered a mistrial after the jury got coached. That's Texas for you! However, votes taken throughout the process indicate that 6 of the jurors were going to vote to acquit Cyrus. The prosecution, however, is retrialing for February of 2023. The prosecution's like, no, wait, everybody for real, listen. This time, we can prove for a fact that Cyrus and Devonte were within 9.9 miles of the incident this time. Thank you. Cyrus was held for years without bond from 2018 up until June of this last year. It wasn't until October 2022 when Cyrus's bond was set at $250,000. An election that had a blue outcome ended up flipping 3 of the judges' seats from Republican to Democratic. After going through multiple bond reduction hearings, Cyrus's bond was finally reduced to $75,000. Now, I'm not here to advocate for any political party at all, especially the Democrats. And the reason being, I'll give you the best example. Ami Bera, I'm looking at your ass, you genocide enabler. You got some questions you need to answer. However, it shouldn't be dismissed the power of voting and how that can literally impact our lives in every single day. I mean, I feel bad for the victims' families being dragged through this process with no evidence. I mean, it's very reminiscent of the Central Park 5. It's so much easier to violate the rights of a human being because he gets no benefit of the doubt because of his skin color than it is to find the actual person who did it and give that family the justice that they deserve. Cyrus isn't allowed to return back home to Houston, but he's not locked up. So for those of us that love Cyrus, we can at least breathe a little bit easier knowing that. In Devonte Amerson's case, prosecutors say they're going to do his trial once Cyrus is done. That means Devonte will be sitting in jail for 5+ years. I actually spoke to Cyrus to see how he was doing and to see what his message to everyone is.
I'm doing good though. Everything is good, and everything improving, getting better. Man, I've been out for literally almost 2 weeks now. That's it. Yeah, I'm weak, bro. But I mean, since I've been out, man, I've been working with this activist group around here, Mano Amiga, and just to be out, to have been able to spend Thanksgiving with my family. I visited a few close friends. It's been real good, man. I got a lot of support. Essay that's about to be published by Harvard Law School here in the coming weeks. And even while I was in there, man, these people were tampering with our mail, preventing my mail from getting out to people as I'm trying to reach out. Like, it seemed like there was a real effort put into place to make sure that we would just nobody really knew what was going on with us. They just don't want to admit that they're wrong. They'd rather try to find a way to cover up the wrong. The lead detective on our case told him, "We don't know who did this, but somebody is going down for this boy's death. So you don't know who did this yet. You came all the way to Houston to abduct 2 kids and put this charge on them. Because when you're willing to go out of your way to do things like Central Park 5, do things like my situation, Devontae's, and all the people before us, when you're willing to take those type of chances, the interest of justice is out the window. When you do put this out, anytime you mention me, also mention Devonte Amerson."
If you're moved by this video and you want to sign a petition to show some support for Cyrus and Devonte, it'll only take a couple minutes. I'll put it in the link below, comments below, whatever the case may be. The bigger issue with this overall is that there's a million Cyruses. There's a million Juggy Singhs. We need to address the fact that humans are having their rights violated. It's something that we need to shed light on, talk about, so that these individuals can become free. They've already had so much of their life taken away from them. Let's stop this from happening to others.